Welcome once again, dear viewers, to watching The Defectives, where I, Barret Homes, shall be opening another defective case file. This is another episode in the seemingly never-ending series where I investigate political careers so unusual that even Arthur Conan Doyle would have rejected them for being implausible. Tonight's case concerns a woman who has managed the extraordinary feat of simultaneously being a cabinet minister, a reality television contestant, an agony aunt, a member of parliament, a member of the European Parliament, a best-selling author, a political rebel, and somehow a permanent resident of 1987. Our suspect is known to history as Anne Widdecombe, but throughout this investigation she shall be known by her proper detective title, Granny Waddlebottom. A woman who has spent decades arguing with the modern world and somehow keeps surviving every encounter. The woman who disagreed with history. Every detective story begins with a mystery. This one begins with a question. What happens when a Victorian headmistress accidentally gets trapped in the 21st century? The answer is Granny Waddlebottom, spawned in 1947 in Bath, Somerset, read Latin at the University of Birmingham, and later studied philosophy, politics and economics at Lady Margaret Hall, Oxford. She is a religious convert from Anglicanism to Roman Catholicism and was a member of the Conservative Christian Fellowship, which does explain quite a lot. She emerged into public life possessing the unique ability to sound disappointed in humanity before you had even finished speaking. She studied classics. She studied politics. She studied philosophy, which is fortunate, because she would spend the next 50 years explaining to everyone else why they were wrong. She served as Minister of State for Employment from 1994 to 1995 and Minister of State for Prisons from 1995 to 1997. She later served in the shadow cabinet of William Slap Head, Hague's Shadow Secretary of State for Health from 1998 to 1999, and the very shadowy Home Secretary from 1999 to 2001. She was appointed to the Privy Council in 1997. You might be wondering, was she always controversial? Well, she entered politics before controversy was even digital. She was arguing with people using entirely analog technology. The Conservative years. For decades, Granny Waddlebottom was a Conservative MP. From 1987 until 2010. This means she survived Thatcher, Major, Blair, Brown, several Conservative civil wars, and approximately 14,000 leadership contests. An achievement equivalent to surviving every season of Game of Thrones while working in human resources. She served in government under the Thriller Minute John Major. Employment Minister, Prisons Minister, Social Security Minister, and if there is one thing everyone agreed upon, it was that Granny Waddlebottom was never difficult to locate. Simply follow the sound of somebody being told they were wrong. The prison years. In 1996, Waddlebottom, as Prisons Minister, defended the government's policy to shackle pregnant prisoners with handcuffs and chains when in hospital receiving prenatal care. Widdecombe told the Commons that the restrictions were needed to prevent prisoners from escaping the hospital. She once said some MPs may like to think that a pregnant woman would not or could not escape. Unfortunately, this is not true. The fact is that hospitals are not secure places in which to keep prisoners, and since 1990, 20 women have escaped from hospitals. Jack Straw, Labour's shadow Home Secretary at the time, said it was degrading and unnecessary for a woman to be shackled at any stage. Her new boss, Frog Arge, prefers his women chained to the kitchen sink. As Prisons Minister, she famously visited every prison in Britain. Every single one, which is dedication. Most politicians avoid visiting their own constituency surgeries. Granny Waddlebottom toured prisons like a Victorian aristocrat inspecting railways. Why visit every prison, you ask? Because if you're going to argue about something, dear viewer, Granny Waddlebottom preferred seeing it personally first, then arguing about it. Something of the night. In May 1997, in the context of an inquiry into a series of prison escapes, Granny remarked of former Home Secretary Michael Howard, under whom she had served, that there was something of the night about him. This much-quoted comment is thought to have contributed to the failure of Howard's 1997 campaign for the Conservative Party leadership, a sentiment shared by both Howard himself and Waddlebottom. It led to him being caricatured as a vampire, in part due to his Romanian ancestry. Howard became the official party leader in 2003, and Waddlebottom then stated, "I explained fully what my objections were in 1997, and I do not retract anything I said then. But we have to look to the future and not the past. Now, Michael, put your teeth back in." So while discussing former Home Secretary Michael Howard, she declared there was something of the night about him. Now, dear viewer, most politicians criticize opponents. Some accuse them of incompetence. Others accuse them of dishonesty. Granny Waddlebottom looked at a colleague and essentially suggested he might transform into a bat. Was she calling him a vampire, you are thinking? Officially? No. Unofficially, well, you might say that, but I couldn't possibly comment. Every newspaper artist immediately bought extra black ink. For decades afterwards, the quote followed both of them. Political historians still mention it. This proves an important principle. You can deliver 10,000 speeches, but history remembers the one sentence that sounds like it escaped from a Hammer horror film. The leadership wars. Then came the conservative leadership battles, and Granny Waddlebottom treated these contests the way Romans treated gladiator fights. With enthusiasm, she backed candidates, opposed candidates, changed candidates, criticized candidates, declared she would never support certain candidates, then criticized other candidates instead. At times, it seemed she viewed leadership elections as a recreational hobby. Here's a rundown. During the 2001 Conservative leadership election, she could not find sufficient support amongst Conservative MPs for her leadership candidacy. She first supported Michael Ancram, who was eliminated in the first round, and then Kenneth Clarke, who lost in the final round. She afterwards declined to serve in Leanne Duncan Nose Picker Smith's shadow cabinet. In 2001, when Michael Port-A-Lou was standing for Conservative Party leadership, Granny described him and his allies as backbiters, due to his alleged destabilizing influence under Slaphead Haig. She went on to say that, should he be appointed leader, she would never give him her allegiance. This was amidst a homophobic campaign led by socially conservative critics of Port-A-Lou. In the 2005 leadership elections, she initially supported Kenneth Clarke again. Once he was eliminated, she turned her support towards Liam Fox. Following Fox's subsequent elimination, she took time to reflect before finally declaring for David Diddy Davis. She expressed reservations over the eventual winner, David Shiny Forehead Cameron, feeling that he did not, like the other candidates, have a proven track record. Some people ask whether she ever became the leader. No, but she did become something even more terrifying, a senior backbencher with opinions and dancing dentures. The Forgotten Decents. In November 2006, she moved into the house of an Ling Ton Labour councillor to experience life on a council estate.
Tonight, Anne Widdecombe takes on the Hoodies.
Hi, guys.
Oh, don't want to know you.
Don't you?
No.
But do you ever think that when you're in hoods, people might be scared of you?
Yep.
Fighting back for the forgotten victims.
Welcome to Britain in 2007, where people live surrounded by squalor outside and fear inside.
A week on the front line.
I've talked tonight to a so-called anti-social behaviour team. They've no powers. Beyond that of a citizen's arrest, they appear to spend their entire time in stairwells noting down the litter. I'm really sorry for the people who live on this estate.
Her response to her experience being, 5 years ago, I made a speech in the House of Commons about the forgotten decents. I have spent the last week on estates in the Islington area, finding out that they are still forgotten. One of Granny Waddlebottom's recurring themes was what she called the forgotten decents. Law-abiding people. Ordinary communities. People who felt ignored. To understand her popularity among supporters, you must understand this theme. She consistently argued that respectable people were being overlooked by political elites, which, in fairness, is a message that has remained popular for roughly the last 200 years. Every generation believes politicians have forgotten ordinary people. Every politician promises to remember them. Then everyone repeats the process. It's England's favourite constitutional tradition, followed closely by queuing for everything. The social conservative. Now there is an oxymoron. Now we arrive at one of the most controversial sections of the case file, Granny Waddlebottom's social views. She consistently held strongly conservative positions on abortion, assisted dying, LGBTQ+ issues, and marriage. Although not an MP at the time, Widdicombe did voice support for the partial decriminalisation of homosexuality in 1967 in England and Wales. After that, Widdicombe consistently opposed further reforms while in Parliament. Out of the 17 parliamentary votes between 1998 and 2008 considered by the Public Whip website to concern equal rights for homosexuals, Waddlebottom took the opposing position in 15 cases, not being present at the other 2 votes. In 1999, Granny stated that I do not think that homosexuality can be promoted as an equally valid lifestyle to heterosexual marriage. But I would say the same about irregular heterosexual arrangements. She has consistently argued against an equal age of consent for same-sex relationships, voting against a 1994 act which would have reduced the age of consent for some male sexual activity from 21 to 18, and in 1998 arguing against a further reduction from 18 to 16, which later occurred in 2000. On the latter act, she wrote in the Mail on Sunday that one of the sundry horrors for which this government is likely to be remembered will be that it gave its imprimatur to sodomy at 16. She later said in 2000, I do not believe that issues of equality should override the imperatives of protecting the young. In 2003, Waddlebottom opposed the repeal of Section 28 of the Local Government Act 1988. In 2012, Granny voiced support in the Daily Express for the practice of conversion therapy, which claims to change the orientation of homosexuals. Waddlebottom has also expressed her opposition to same-sex marriage, introduced by David, the alleged Piggy Diddler Cameron's government in 2014, arguing that the state must have a preferred model, which is a union that is generally open to procreation. She also opposes gender self-identification for transgender people. In 2020, she expressed her opposition to same-sex dancing on Strictly Come Dancing, saying, I don't think it is what viewers of Strictly, especially families, are looking for. But that's up to the audience and the program. These views generated enormous disagreement. Supporters saw conviction. Critics saw intolerance. But one thing nobody could accuse her of was changing opinions with the weather. She is a committed, or should that read that Granny should be committed, animal lover, and one of the several Conservative MPs to have consistently voted for the ban on the hunting of foxes. Granny was among more than 20 high-profile people who signed a letter to members of Parliament in 2015 to oppose David alleged Piggy Diddler Cameron's plan to amend the Hunting Act 2004. You might be asking whether she ever moderated her views. Well, to be honest, Granite is more flexible. The climate detour. Then came climate change. And Granny Waddlebottom approached climate science the way that I, Barret Homes, would approach a witness carrying 3 fake moustaches. With suspicion, she expressed skepticism regarding climate policies and opposed the Climate Change Act. In 2007, she wrote that she did not want to belittle the issue of climate change, but was skeptical of the claims that specific actions would prevent catastrophe. In 2008, she wrote that her doubts had been crystallized by Nigel Lawson's book An Appeal to Reason in 2014. She likened Lawson's difficulty in getting the book published to the book Burnings in Nazi Germany. Later in 2008, Waddlebottom claimed that the science of climate change is robustly disputed. Then, in 2009, that there is no climate change. Hasn't anybody looked out of their window recently? She was one of the 5 MPs who voted against the Climate Change Act 2008. Now this led to a remarkable situation. Scientists were saying one thing. Environmentalists were saying another. And Granny Waddlebottom was standing in the middle, shouting, "I remain unconvinced." It was less a policy position and more a lifestyle. Retirement. Granny retired from politics at the 2010 general election.
Retirement.
Yes.
You are now definitely retiring.
Oh yes, yes, my successor is chosen, everything's in place. My house is bought on Dartmoor, yes.
So why are you retiring?
I think very simply I've done it for long enough. I was pretty convinced that was the right decision. And then that was confirmed for me in the autumn of 2007, when you may remember there was a sudden flurry. Everybody thought Brown was going to the country. Well, I didn't actually, and I won an awful lot of lunches and dinners as a result of bets taken at that time. I never believed he'd go to the country. But at that stage, I had no successor appointed in Maidstone, and I hadn't made the formal announcement of my retirement, although everybody knew I was going. And I thought, if we're going to have an election, I'm going to have to stand again. And suddenly I was facing another 5 years, and it was just too much. 2, 3, fine, no problem at all. 5 years is too much. Politicians have to think in 5-year blocks. Anybody else who's got any control over their retirement age can say, I'll give it another year, give it another couple of years. We can't say that, we've got to think in 5-year blocks. So if in 2007 I had decided not to retire, I would have been thinking in an 8-year block, because it would have been 3 years to the end of this Parliament and 5 of the next. And I just said that it's just too much. I've just reached a point where I don't want to do that long. I would if I had to, but I don't actually want to do that long. And I think when you reach that stage, that's the time to hand on to a new generation with goodwill. And I'd much rather people said to me, as they all do, why are you going, rather than they were saying to me, when are you going?
It was rumoured that she would be a Conservative candidate for Police and Crime Commissioner in 2012, but she refused. She has since spoken about her opposition to the coalition government and her surprise at not being given a peerage by the man with a very shiny forehead, David Cameron. She retired from Parliament. The end. The curtain falls. The story concludes. The detective closes the case, except it didn't, because Granny Waddlebottom treats retirement the way Dracula treats sunlight. As an interesting suggestion, Granny treads the boards. Yes, dear viewer, Granny Waddlebottom has been on the stage, a very reinforced one, yes, but the stage all the same. Following her retirement, Granny made her stage debut on the 9th of December 2011 at the Orchard Theatre, Dartford, in the Christmas pantomime Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, alongside Strictly Come Dancing judge Craig Revel-Horwood. On April 2012, she had a 10-minute non-singing cameo part in Gaetano Donizetti's comic opera La Fille du Ré Gemant. Please forgive my bad pronunciation. Playing the Duchess de Krakentorp, Granny reprised her pantomime performance, again with Horwood, at the Swan Theatre, High Wycombe, in December 2012.
That my character drives it. You know, I'm like a cog in the whole thing. I like performing, but it's hard work. I used to look in the mirror, I used to think I was beautiful.
With Craig Revel-Horwood and then it was Anne Wickham. Anne Widdicombe. Anne Widdicombe, yes, in High Wycombe. No, it's Anne Widdicombe in High Wycombe. Anne Widdicombe in High Wycombe. I got it right, thank you. This is not a still camera, is it? It's a video. Kiss a kiss. Oh.
She has all the one-liners, and she puts me down the entire time.
It was obvious that, you know, we didn't know how to make people laugh, which is what Panto's about.
This is my 7th Panto. He looks so young, doesn't he? Don't eat it.
No, don't eat it. Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
Okay, good. Wait, don't be cheeky.
On singing, dancing, me. God, put that in there. Come and watch us in Snow White.
One, two.
Come and watch us in Snow White.
At the Wycombe Theatre, Swan. Yes. When is it again? 1, 2, 3.
Come and watch us in Snow White.
At the Wycombe Swan on the 7th of December. Yay!
Yay!
Waddlebottom stepped in at short notice to play the evil queen in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which was published by the Brothers Grimm in 1812 at Bridlington Spa in December 2016. She replaced injured Lorraine Chase. This was Waddlebottom's first appearance as a pantomime baddie, a role she told the press she had always hoped for. In December 2017, Granny played the Empress of China in the pantomime Aladdin at the Marina Theatre in Lowestoft. Well, dear viewers, that is the end of part 1 of watching The Defectives, the Waddlebottom Files. I, Barret Homes, do hope that you will join me again next week for the concluding part of my investigation into this edition of the Waddlebottom Files. Until next time, like, comment, subscribble, and share widely. Stay observant. Stay skeptical. Question everything. I remain Barret Homes. And these are the files from the Defective Defectors.